Krista. Welcome to yoga. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Today's practice will be a Yin Yang practice. So what that means is it's a combination between two very different forms of yoga. So the Yin Yoga is a deeper stretch for connective tissues, for the joint structures, and then the Yang Yoga is more of a movement-based practice for the muscles, moving with the breath. Two very different forms of yoga, but they go really nicely together. When I teach Yin Yang, I start with the Yin portion first. Yin is more effective when our muscles are cool. So we do the Yin portion first to get beyond the muscles, to get deeper into our connective tissues, long held poses, and then we go through a little bit of movement just to get the joints moving again after. As always, please remember to listen to your body and do what feels right for you today. So go ahead and come onto the back. Stretch your legs, take your arms overhead, and give yourself a nice big stretch. Just a simple stretch like this can relieve tension in the whole body. Hold the stretch for a moment and relax. Take your arms down by your sides, make fists. Press your fists towards your feet. Hold. Relax. Press your lower back down toward the floor and relax. Find your comfortable position. So you can move your arms a little bit away from the body, turn the palms up so you're giving your shoulders some space. Legs can be straight, or if it feels better, go ahead and bend your knees. Make sure that your lower back is comfortable. Make sure your body is relaxed. Shoulders relaxed. Notice if you're holding tension in your physical body, try to just let it go so your whole body is sinking into the mat. Become aware of your breath. So no need to change it right now. Just notice how your breath feels. Allow the breath to flow naturally, but with awareness. Feeling the sensations of each inhale and each exhale. Lots of different breathing techniques we can do in a yoga practice. We can use the breath to energize or to calm or to focus. So much we can do with the breath. And if you notice how everything is connected, the breath, the mind, the body, it's all connected. If you're starting to feel really anxious, your breath starts to speed up, your heart rate starts to speed up. So if we can work with the breath, if we can slow the breath down, we can start to slow the heart rate down, we can start to calm the mind. So there's lots of things we can do with the breath. It's really important in yoga that we learn to work with the breath. So now we'll spend a moment just working with the exhale phase of the breath. So your inhale will just be natural. On your exhale, count the length of your exhale and just keep that same count for a few rounds. And then if you can, on your next round of breath, add a count to the exhale. Don't worry about counting your inhale, just let your inhale be natural. Focus on the exhale phase, so just adding a count to the exhale. Every couple of rounds of breath, take your exhale one count longer. Once you've reached your maximum, keep that longer exhale. So it's good to have a little bit of challenge here, so to take the exhale out as long as you can, but without force. If you're struggling to reach that count, then that's maybe a little bit too far, so maybe just go back a step. Forcing the breath can actually make you feel a little bit agitated, and that's not the effect we're looking for here. This technique where we're working with lengthening the exhale, taking the exhale out longer each round, this can be a very calming technique. So only go as far as you're able to go. And once you've reached your maximum exhale, keep that longer count. So once we come into our yin poses, we'll be working with an equal count breath with the option to take the exhale 2 counts longer than the inhale. So we're just spending a moment here just to practice taking the exhale out longer. So it might be a little bit easier for you to have a 2 count longer exhale when we come into our yin poses. The yin poses that we'll be doing, the first couple, I will give you the option to do them on your back instead if the seated version of these poses doesn't feel okay for you. So there will be that option available. Do one more full breath, and then just let the counting go. Let's get my timer ready here. So we'll be coming into butterfly, which is a seated pose. If you don't want to do the seated version of this pose, you can stay on your back and you can do the reclining version of butterfly instead. So the reclining version of butterfly, just bending the knees, bringing the soles of the feet together and dropping the knees out to the sides. So that's the reclining version of butterfly. So if the seated version doesn't feel okay, please stay on your back and go into the reclining version. The reclining version, you're still going to get the opening in the hips, but you're not going to get the forward bending part of it. So with butterfly, we're coming forward and we're also opening the hips. So we're stretching into the lower back and into the hips as well. So if you're coming into butterfly, you can roll over to your right side and stay there. And then make your way up to seated. If you're doing the reclining version, just stay on your back. For the seated version, if you have a prop available, if you have a blanket that you can use or a thin yoga block, such as this one, you can use this for butterfly just to elevate your pelvis a little bit. So tilt the pelvis forward so that you're better able to access the lower back. So if you have something available, good idea to use a prop here. I'll just use my block. So when you're sitting on a prop, you're sitting toward the front edge of the prop, not too far back. And all you're doing is, again, just tilting the pelvis forward. So pretty much anyone can benefit from sitting on a prop here, just to help you elevate a little bit so you can get better, deeper into the lower back area that we're trying to target here. So bend your knees, bring your feet in a comfortable distance, not too close. Soles of the feet together, drop the knees open. So you want more of a diamond between your legs here. You can play with the distance of the heels away from the groin though. In Yang Yoga, bound angle, the heels are quite close. So we're not in this position for our yin practice. The feet are further away, but you can play with the distance a little bit. So you might feel a different stretch depending on where your feet are. If you take them further, you may feel a little more in the hamstrings. If you have them where mine are here, you might feel more into the hips. So you can adjust that a little bit to suit your body and where you'd like to feel this. So soles of the feet are together, you have more of a diamond shape between your legs. And then from here, just start to come forward. Round your back, relax your neck, and stay still. Now that you've established your pose, start to equalize your breath. So start by just equalizing, make the inhale and the exhale the same. And once you've got your count, if it feels okay, if it feels appropriate, take the exhale 2 counts longer. So if your inhale is a count of 4, the exhale could be a count of 6. If you can't get there, that's okay. Stay with an equal count. So do what you can do here. The equal count will still help you to focus your mind. It will help you to breathe a little bit deeper. It'll help you to stay with your yin pose and help your body to stay still. The 2 count longer exhale can be just a little bit more calming. But it's not necessary. If you can't get there, just stay with the equal count. And relax. If you're in this seated version, you might find your body starts to come further forward as you're holding. That's great. That's passive movement. That just shows that your body's starting to warm up and to loosen up a little bit, allowing you to deepen the pose. If you're on your back, you may find the knees start to drop open a little more as you hold, with gravity helping to take the knees out further. That's great as well. Passive movement is fine. We're trying to avoid any fidgeting or any muscle-based movement. So do your best to stay still as much as possible. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Focus on your breath. Equal count or a 2 count longer exhale. Allow your body to be relaxed. If it feels okay to have your head dropped forward, then let the head hang so your neck is relaxed. If you have neck issues or if that just doesn't feel okay, it's okay to keep your head up as long as you can keep the rounding in the lower back. So you can keep your neck in a more neutral position if that feels better for your neck. With the head dropped forward, we are using the weight of the head, so we're getting more stretch into the lower back area. So with butterfly, you're getting in the lower back, the lumbar, the sacral area with the rounding of the lower back, and also into the groin and into the hips. So butterfly is good for targeting the liver and kidney meridians in the groin area here. All yoga is an energetic practice, and with our Yin Yoga practice, we're focusing on meridians, so energy channels. That's the terminology we use in Yin Yoga. Qi energy moving through meridians. So when we feel something in the groin, that's generally liver and kidney meridians that we're targeting there. So stay still, hold your pose, relax and breathe. Remember that you're free to come out early if you need to. These are long held poses in Yin. 3 to 5 minutes is generally the whole time that I work with in my Yin classes. If you can't hold it for that long, that's okay. This is your practice. Listen to your body. If you come out sooner, just come to a neutral position, stay still, relax, and notice what you feel. If at some point during this hold you'd like to just let the counting go and focus on the breath and focus on your body, that's fine. You don't want to force yourself to stay with a certain breathing technique. It's always a good idea to at least start with this breathing technique to help you settle, to help you focus, to help quiet your mind, to help your mind stay steady. But once you've settled into stillness, if you get tired of working with the count, it's okay just to let that go. Focus on your breath, focus on your body, feel the sensations in your body. If your mind starts to wander again, you can always go back to the count just to steady the mind. Generally, when we start to fidget, it's a sign that our mind is becoming a little bit distracted. If we can keep the mind focused, we have a better chance of staying still. Like I was saying at the beginning about how everything's connected, so if we can still the breath, we can slow the breath down, we can quiet the mind, and then we can keep the body still as well. So let's come out of this one. If you're seated, you can just make your way back up. Bring your knees up. If you're on your back, just bring your knees up. Bring your feet flat to the floor and just stay. If you're seated, same thing. Feet are on the mat. Just stay like that for a moment. Whether you're on your back or seated, extend your legs. And just stay still. Notice whatever you feel. So in between our poses, we take time to notice, to feel the sensations. So the next pose we'll be coming into will be Sleeping Swan, similar to Pigeon Pose in Yang Yoga, if you're familiar with Pigeon Pose. Different pose though, so make sure that when you approach this one, you treat it as a different pose. So this is Yin Yoga, not Yang Yoga. If you know that that position is not going to be okay for you, just stay as you are for a moment. We're not quite moving into the pose yet, but if you know that that position is not going to be okay, or if you try it and you find it's not okay, then there's the option to come onto your back. The left foot will be on the mat, the right ankle on the left knee, and you're welcome just to stay here. So this is fine, you can stay here with your left foot down. If you have a block, you can elevate your left foot on the block, or you can bring your legs in. If you bring your legs in, just make sure your neck stays relaxed and that you're not arching your neck or lifting your head off the floor. So that's really important there. So there's your option if Swan is not okay for you. So try Swan, and if you find it's just not going to work, then you can come onto your back into Sleeping Swan. So if you were on your back, make your way up if you haven't already. And we'll come to Sleeping Swan first. So we'll do this in 2 stages. So come to your knees. Slide your right knee forward, and then slide your left leg back. So just gently wiggle a little bit side to side, just to let your hips loosen up. Now, there is some effort required from you in Yin Yoga, finding the right position for your body, so no rush. Try not to just immediately collapse into this pose, and try to explore it for a moment first and see if you can get a little deeper stretch or a little more sensation back in the glute area, or maybe the outside of the leg, or back into the back of the right hip area here. So there are some things you can do with this pose to make it a little more effective for you. One is the angle of the front leg. You can bring it a little more forward if you like. If that bothers your knee though, bring the heel back a little closer. So for some people this is okay. For other people, taking the shin forward is not okay for the knee. So find the right position. Generally with pigeon pose, my leg is out further, and when I do swan, I bring the heel in a little bit closer because we're in this pose for a longer period of time. So you have to keep that in mind as well. The pelvis, you can also work with that. So in Yang Yoga with swan, we're trying to square the pelvis as much as we can. Yin Yoga, don't worry so much about that. Focus on the feeling, the sensations that you're getting in this stretch. The angle of the knee can be straight forward. You can take it out a little bit wherever you get the most sensation. So once you feel something, then you can just start to ease yourself forward and relax. If you can't get all the way down, or if you find that your arms don't feel okay on the floor, if you have a prop, you're welcome to use it under your arms here, a block or a blanket, just to help you relax in the pose. But remember that with props in Yin, we're not trying to make it more comfortable, or we're not trying to make something more accessible. We're just trying to support a tissue if necessary, or to allow us to relax a little more, or to allow us to target a certain area a little more effectively. So we're not using props like we would use them in a restorative practice. We're not trying to make a pose comfortable. Yin is meant to be uncomfortable, actually. It's not supposed to be a comfortable practice. So always taking the time when you settle in, before you settle into your pose, to make sure you're in the right position where you get the most out of your pose. And this is something that takes practice. Go back into your breath, starting again with the equal count or the 2 count longer exhale if you're able to. Focus on the breath for as long as you can. You can stay with the breath for the entire pose, or, as I mentioned before, if you feel like you'd like to just let that go at some point and bring more attention to the body, that's fine. Just if your mind starts to wander, go back into the breath just to help quiet the mind. So it's always a good idea to take a little more time settling into the pose, exploring the pose a little bit, and then committing to stillness rather than rushing into it. Yin Yoga, there's a lot more opportunity for you to explore the pose. In Yang Yoga, alignment is a little more specific. It's more of an alignment focused practice. Yin is more about feeling the pose in your body, tweaking the alignment a little bit so you get the most out of your pose. And everybody will be very different. So when we come into these poses, I give you the general shape of the pose, and then it's up to you to find the right position for your body. So it's a very different type of effort that we're working with in our Yin practice. It's not a physical exertion type of effort, but it's the effort that it takes to explore the pose a little bit and find the optimal alignment for your body where you get the most sensation. This is something that we develop over time. Keep breathing, using the 2 count longer exhale if you can, or the equal count breath. Relax and feel. Notice what you feel. If you start to feel like coming out of a pose, try to commit to stay for another breath or two and just notice why you want to come out of the pose. If you're feeling pain, absolutely come out immediately, or you can shift a little bit and see if that helps you. Pain is never okay in any yoga practice. Discomfort is definitely possible, but make sure that it doesn't hurt. So from here, now we're going to come into swan. If you're on your back, you can just stay in the position you're in for the duration. So we were forward in sleeping swan. So swan pose is like a proud pigeon position. So coming up as high as you're able to. You don't have to lift the heart like you would in Yang Yoga. You can take your head and neck to a position that feels comfortable. If you'd like to take the head back a little bit, that's fine. Find your position. You may need to adjust the front leg. You can change the position of the front leg here. The pelvis may be situated a little bit differently here. So notice, it's okay to shift a little bit. You might have a completely different position with the front knee and the front shin between swan and sleeping swan. So it is okay to move a little bit just to find the right alignment. And stay still once you've found your position. And breathe. So now that we've come up a little bit into swan, this one is going to get more into the front of the left hip here, and also into the lower back. So this is a bit of a back bend, preparatory type of back bend. You don't have to go too far here. Finding the right position. So when we were in sleeping swan, you may have felt that in the glute and along the outside of the leg. That's targeting the gallbladder meridian. When we do the outside of the body, the outside of the leg, even the side body, that's more gallbladder meridian. When we're coming up here with a little bit of a back bend, we might get a little bit into the stomach and spleen meridian as we're stretching a little bit into the front body. Not everybody will feel these in the same place. So some people will feel sleeping swan and swan in exactly the same place. Other people, when you come up, you may feel more into the front of the left hip and more into the lower back area. So notice where you feel this. Relax. You can keep your eyes closed here. Remember, this is a passive pose. So in proud pigeon in Yang Yoga, the heart would be lifted, be more of an active pose. So you don't have to go there for swan if you don't want to. It's more of a passive pose. A little more active than sleeping swan, however. Stay with your breath. So with proud pigeon, with the heart lifted and the head tilted slightly back, it's a heart opener as well as a back bend. With swan, it's more just getting into the lower back and the front of the back hip here. Not so much of a heart opener or chest opener. So swan and sleeping swan are two very different poses. And as I mentioned, your alignment with the front leg may be different in both of these variations. So make sure that you're treating them both as different poses and you're taking the time to explore each one. It's better to take a little more time at the beginning to find the right alignment and then to settle into stillness for the duration, than to rush into the pose and then either not get the most out of it or find partway through that you're not in the best position and you need to adjust a little bit. So let's come out. If you're on your back, just release your pose and stay there. If you're in swan, from here you can just take your legs slowly out in front. Knees bent for a moment. Trying to relax into the left groin a little bit, into the hip flexor area. And then extend your legs. Notice whatever you feel. So this is important too, this time in between, noticing the sensations. So back to our hands and knees if you're coming into sleeping swan. If you're on your back, you can just switch to the other side. So left knee forward. And remember to take the time to find your alignment. So slide your right leg back. I like to wiggle just a little bit really gently just to loosen up my hips a little bit. And then take a moment to adjust. So again, the adjustments that you can make are the front shin. You can change the angle of the front shin, the front knee. For me, I generally have my knee straight forward from my hip, the heel a little closer to the groin, but your knee might be on more of an angle. Maybe this leg comes out a little bit more. Find your position. Everybody will be different here. And then once you feel like you've got a good stretch, back in the left glute or left hip area, then you can slowly make your way forward. And stay still. If you need support under your elbows, make sure you have a blanket or a block there. Reestablish your breath and relax. Try to commit to stillness. And notice the difference between sleeping swan, which is the one we're in now, and swan, where we come back into a little bit of a back bend and we lift up a little higher. So notice where you feel this one, and then when we come into swan pose, see if you can feel the difference. Working with your breath, relax. If at some point you feel like you've kind of lost the stretch or you're not in the best position, it's okay to make some slight adjustments if you need to. A little bit of intelligent or mindful movement might be appropriate just to get you back into your stretch or to get you a little bit deeper. But ideally, we want to stay as still as possible. And we want to take the time at the beginning to find the stretch, to settle in, and then to stay still. Some people struggle with the stillness aspect of a yin practice. It does get easier. If you have a really busy mind, this is where the breath comes in, focusing on the breath, trying to quiet the mind. It does get better. Stay still a little bit longer. Use your breath. Now coming into swan. If you're on your back, you'll just stay in the same position. If you were in sleeping swan, start to make your way up. But before you settle in, notice what you feel. You may need to change the angle of the front shin. You may need to change the knee, have it out on an angle or a little more forward. You may need to make some adjustments there. You may not be in exactly the same position that you were in before. And so notice how that feels. Once you've got your position, commit to stillness. So with swan, you're looking for maybe a little more sensation now in hip flexors on the right side, so the front of the right hip, and into the lower back here as well. The higher you come up, obviously, the more you're getting into your back. If that feels like it's a little too much, it's okay to just come forward a little bit. You don't have to be up as high as I am here. Remember that this is Yin Yoga, not Yang Yoga. So we're in these poses for a longer period of time. So in Yang Yoga, we're not holding our poses for an extended period of time. In Yin, we need to be in a position that we're able to hold for a few minutes. Establish your breath, equal count, 2 count longer exhale if you're able to. if something starts to feel like it's not okay. If you've had enough, it's always okay to come out. If you do come out though, just come to a neutral position, stay still. Yin Yoga, we're putting our joints in a vulnerable position on purpose so we can safely stress the joints. So that with the muscles relaxed, we can target our joints in a safe way. So because our joints are in this vulnerable position with this safe stress put on our joints, when we leave a pose, really good idea just to stay still in a neutral position and just allow everything to stabilize. So there's a few benefits to that. We take the time to notice what we feel and really explore those sensations of the release of the pose, but we're also allowing our body to stabilize. So when I teach Yin, I don't do countering movement. I release the pose, stay still, and just notice and just allow our bodies to return to a neutral position. So coming out, if you're on your back, you can just bring your feet to the mat, keep your knees bent for a moment. If you're in swan, upright swan, slowly bring your legs out in front. Take your time. Keep your knees bent for a moment with your feet on the mat. That can be quite a deep opening into the back leg when we're upright in swan. Just extend your legs, stay still. So we'll be coming into Sphinx pose next, which is a back bend on the belly. If you're unable to be on your belly, you can stay on your back or come onto your back if you need to, and come into this position with the feet out as wide as the mat and the knees dropping in. So it's not a back bend, but you'll still open up into the lower back, into the lumbar and the sacral area, and you get an internal rotation at the hip. So this will be an alternative if laying on the belly is not okay for you. Otherwise, we'll come into Sphinx pose. So come onto your belly. We'll do this a little bit differently, a slightly different variation. So hold on to your elbows. And your elbows will be just slightly in front of your shoulders. So we'll hold the elbows for this variation of Sphinx. If this is too deep for you, you can take your arms further away, or if you need to, just have your forehead on your hands. That is still a back bend. Laying on your belly is a back bend, laying on your belly is a back bend, so you don't have to come up this high. For Sphinx pose, you can control the stretch, as I mentioned, with your arms, so they can move further away if this feels too deep for you. Another thing you can do is take your legs further apart or bring them closer together and see how that changes the sensation. So generally, if you take your legs a little bit wider, you might feel a little bit more in the lower back area, but you might not. So you can play with that. You can take the legs wider or bring them closer and see how that feels. Find the right position for you. So for this one, we don't need to lift the heart like we do in Yang Yoga and supported cobra. Your head and neck can just be in a comfortable position. Shoulders can even shrug up, that's fine here. As we're focusing just on the lower back, the lumbar spine. Close your eyes, try to relax your glutes. Just allow your breath to flow, but use the count if you can. Equal count or a 2 count longer exhale. Keep breathing. Holding the elbows is a different variation, and it's a nice variation. It prevents you from bringing your elbows too far back, actually. If you find that doesn't really feel okay for you, then you can just bring your forearms down instead, but keep your elbows where they are. Notice if you're starting to tighten up the glutes, relax. Stay with the breath. If you start to feel strong sensation, not painful, but just strong, you can shift your focus there for a moment. So bring your attention to that area where you feel that strong sensation. And that can actually help to alleviate some of that sensation. It can send more energy there, which can help to lessen the sensation a little bit. If you start to feel really strong sensation, still not pain, but really strong, and you find that you're kind of tightening up your glutes, it might be a good idea just to come out a little bit so you can relax a little bit more. And we'll slowly come out. Just lower yourself down. Bring your forehead to your hands for a moment. Relax. And from here, make your way up to your knees. And stay on hands and knees for a moment. We'll come into one more yin pose. It'll be a shorter hold, getting into the feet. So from here, tuck your toes under, reach back and just make sure all of your toes touch the floor. And then sit back onto your heels. Not a very fun stretch for a lot of people. If it feels strong, I'll get the timer going right now. If it feels strong, that's okay. If it feels like it's too much, you can lean forward a little bit and take some of the weight off your feet, or if you can't do it at all, that's okay. You can just untuck your toes and sit back on your heels, and if that's not okay, just find a different seated position, and that's okay as well. So we won't be in this one for quite as long. Shorter hold. This one can be quite strong. The joints in the toes are obviously smaller, so we don't need to hold for quite as long here. So you can relax as much as you can. Close your eyes. Go back to the breath. If you need to come out of this one sooner, that's fine. This will be, like I mentioned, a shorter hold, but if you can't stay for the duration, that's fine. Come out sooner if you need to. longer if you can. That was a 2-minute hold. So slowly take your time, come forward, untuck your toes and just stay still. Notice the release of this pose. Just come back into child's pose for a moment. Coming up to table pose, so now we'll move into the yang portion of our class. We'll start moving a little bit with the breath. So we'll combine cat-cow with the movement of the feet here. So on your next inhale, feet are flat, so tops of the feet are on the mat. Lift the heart, drop the belly. Exhale, tuck your toes and round your back. Inhale, untuck your toes, tops of the feet on the mat, lift the heart. Exhale, tuck your toes, round. Inhale, tops of feet on mat, lift the heart. Exhale, tuck your toes around. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Just come to a neutral spine. And then just sit back onto your heels if you're able to. If you can't sit like this, you can sit cross-legged instead. Sitting on the heels, this can get into the knees and the ankles here as well. This we could do as a yin pose. We could hold this for 3 to 5 minutes. We won't do that right now. We're using it just as a transition pose right now, more of a yang pose. Hold on to your elbows. Take an inhale. Exhale, elbows right, head left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the other side. You can do this in a different seated position if you like. Inhale. Exhale, elbows right, head left. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center, switch your arms. The other arm is on top. Exhale, elbows right, head left. Inhale. Exhale, switch. 1 more each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release. Lift your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, let them drop. And come forward. Come to your knees and then down to your elbows. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees. Take your knees back down to the mat. Stay on your elbows. Stretch your right leg back behind you. Push back through the heels. You feel the stretch in the back of the right leg, the calf. And switch sides. Take your left knee back down. Come back into child's pose. Walk your hands over to the right. Breathe all the way down the left side of your body. Come to center and go the other way. Back to center. Walk your hands back. Shift your feet over to the left. So your feet are stacked with the left foot on the right foot. Take your left hand to your right knee. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Stay with your twist, but turn and look over your left shoulder. Turn your head back to the right. Turn to center. Take your right arm up on an inhale. Exhale over. Inhale. Exhale, release. Just lift up and shift to the other side. So feet are over to the right. Right foot is on the left foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, twisting left. Hold your twist, turn and look over your shoulder. Turn your head back to the left, come back to center, inhale, left arm up, exhale. Reach up on your inhale, exhale, release. Come back to center, back to your knees, and then into table pose. Take your right leg out behind you, take your foot down and open up to the right. Inhale, reach up, exhale, reach over. Press into your left hand, extend the right arm over by your ear. Come to center, lift your right leg, and then take your knee down, take your left leg back, open up to the left. Inhale, reach straight up, exhale, reach over. Coming back to center, lift your left leg, and then take it down. Tuck your toes under, take your hands forward a little bit, and come into down dog. It's okay to move if that feels good. Come up onto your toes, drop your knees down to the mat. Just reset so you're back in table pose, so the wrists are back under the shoulders. Right leg out behind you, opening up to the right once again. Take your right arm straight up, and this time lift your right leg if you're able to. If you feel really wobbly here, you can either keep your foot down or you can angle the lower leg a little bit out, and that can give you a little bit more stability. If you have your leg a little more straight, that's more challenging for the balance. Take your right foot down, right hand down, and then the knee. And go the other side. Take your left leg out, start with your foot on the floor, open to the side, and then if you like, the left leg can lift. Adjust the bottom leg as needed to give you a little more stability or to challenge yourself a little more. Take your foot down, take your hand down, take your knee down. Bring your big toes together, take your knees wide. Come to a wide leg child's pose for a moment. And then come up and make your way into down dog. Slowly come to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, fold. Come all the way up on your inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. So feet are hip distance apart. We'll work with a breathing technique here, a really mindful breathing technique. So right wrist will be in front to start with, and we'll open up the arms and come up on the toes, and then the left wrist will come in front. So pay attention to the top hand We'll be switching each time. So I'll cue the first couple of rounds and then I'll just let you go on your own. Try to pay attention to which wrist you have on top. So right wrist is on top to start. Spread your fingers. Inhale, come up on your toes. Take your arms open, just to kind of a V position. Exhale, left wrist on top as the arms come down, heels come down. Inhale, up on the toes, open. Right wrist on top, exhale. Inhale on the toes, open. Left wrist top, exhale. Inhale. Right wrist on top, exhale. Continue at your own pace. Pay attention to the top hand. Switching the top hand each time. If you forget, that's okay. Just try to stay focused. Last one. And release. Just give your arms a shake. Stand in Tadasana for a moment. Close your eyes. Take your arms up. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your right knee up, right arm down. Inhale. Exhale, switch. We'll go side to side a few times. Inhale, fingers are spread. Exhale, foot is active when you lift the knee. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Right knee up, exhale. Inhale. Left knee. Inhale. Exhale. Let's stay here. Hold the right side. Breathe. Take your right foot down. Reach up and hold your wrist. Inhale. Exhale over. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, release. Take your arms up. Inhale. Left knee, exhale. We'll go side to side a couple of times. Inhale. Exhale, right. Inhale, holding this one. Exhale, left knee, hold. Inhale, reach up, hold your left wrist. Exhale to the right. Straighten, inhale, exhale, release. So feet are shoulder distance apart, so just a little bit wider than your hips. Hands on your hips. Take an inhale, exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, come forward to a straight spine. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, a little bit back, so lift the heart. Inhale, center. To the left, exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, relax. So you can do that same thing with the hands on the hips. If you have no back issues, you can try that series with your arms extended up by your ears. It is a stronger movement with the arms by the ears. So back issues, I recommend just keep your hands on your hips here instead. Otherwise, you can take your arms up. Take an inhale, exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward to a straight spine. If this doesn't feel okay, make sure you take your hands to the hips. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lift the heart. Inhale, center. To the left. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, release. Hands to hips. So we'll do the same thing going to the left. So the first round, we'll do hands on hips. Second round, option to take the arms up. Take an inhale. To the left, exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, straight spine. come up. Exhale, lifting the heart. Center, inhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, relax. So do that same thing, or the option to do it with the arms up, only if that feels okay for you. So inhale, arms up if you're going there. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, a little bit back. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, released. Stand for a moment, breathe. Bring your feet in so they're hip distance. Bend your knees, bring your elbows to your knees, and just shift a little bit side to side. Relax your back. And walk your hands up your legs. Lift your right knee, cross it over, sit back. So you're welcome to stay hands just resting on your leg. If you'd like a little bit more here, slide your hands down to the ankle. Challenges your balance and will get you a little deeper into the stretch. If that's too much, don't go there. Coming up, feet together, inhale. Hands to your heart, exhale. Left knee up, cross it over. Sit back, hands to the leg, or if you'd like a little bit more, slide your hands down to the ankle. Coming up, feet together, inhale, hands to your heart, exhale. Pause and breathe. Take your left arm up, bend your right knee, hold on to your ankle. So you're trying to bring your heel towards your seat here. Take an inhale. On your exhale, pull your heel towards you as you press your hand up and look up if you can. This strengthens your lower back. So the right knee is pointing toward the floor if possible. Release. Switch sides. Right arm up. Bend the left knee. Bring the heel towards your seat. Take an inhale. Exhale. Press your hand up. Pull the heel towards you. Look up if you can. And release. So do a similar thing, but slightly different position with the arm. So the arm will go forward this time instead of up, and then we'll take this right into dancer pose at the end. So press the left hand forward, bend the right knee, hold your ankle. So same thing, same starting position here with the back leg. Take an inhale, exhale, pull the heel. Inhale here. On your exhale now, push your foot into your hand and reach forward. So you're pressing the left hand forward. Up, release. Go to the other side. So press the right hand forward, bend your left knee. Take an inhale. Exhale, pull the heel towards you first. Press the heel of your hand forward. Inhale. Exhale, now push your foot into your hand. Come forward. So you're still pressing the right hand forward. And you're pressing your left foot into your left hand. And coming up. Release. Give your wrists a shake, give your legs a shake. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Pause for a moment. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, fold, step your left foot back. And then come up on an inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Interlace your hands. Inhale, press your hands up. Exhale, bring the shoulders down. Take an inhale. On your exhale, lower your arms. Reach your arms back behind you. Lean forward over the right leg. So keep the belly lifted. Keep your arms strong. And then from here, step onto your right foot. Slide your left foot in. Take it up slow. Bend your right knee. Take your left foot back down. Take your hands down. Step back into down dog. Come forward into plank on an inhale. Exhale, drop your knees, come to child's pose. Hands down by your feet. Inhale, come up onto your knees, lift your heart. Exhale. Inhale, sliding forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra, lift the heart. Exhale. Push to your knees, inhale. Down dog on your exhale. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale. Coming up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a breath. We'll do the other side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. Come up. Inhale. Hands to your heart. Exhale. Interlace. Inhale, press. Exhale, shoulders down. Inhale. Exhale, let your arms come down. Reach your arms back behind you. Reach your chest forward. And step onto your left foot. Bring your right foot in. Take it up if you can. Give myself a little more space here. Right leg up into warrior three if you're able to. Bend your left knee. Take your right foot back down. Hands down. Stepping back, down dog. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, knees down, child's pose. Hands down by your feet. Up on your knees, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, sliding forward, modified plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Down dog on your exhale. And from here, lift your heels a little higher, drop down to your knees, untuck your toes, and just come up to standing on your knees. Bring your hands to your heart, and just bring your right foot forward. So both legs are at 90 degrees. Interlace your hands, press up, inhale, shoulders down, exhale. So this is also a balanced position. If you need to tuck the back toes, that'll give you a little more stability. The back foot flat, a little more challenge for the balance. Take an inhale, exhale over to the right. Straighten, inhale, exhale, release. Hands to your heart, switch your legs. So both legs are at 90 degrees, back foot can be flat or the toes tucked. Interlace and press up. Inhale, exhale, shoulders down. Take an inhale, exhale to the left. Straighten out, inhale, exhale, bring your hands to your heart, bring your left knee down, toes together, knees wide, wide like child's pose. Make your way to seated, with your legs out in front. Legs straight, toes are pointing up. Inhale, reach forward, lift up. Exhale, come forward. Keep the length in your spine, reach your chest forwards. This is a very active fold. If you are all the way into this, like I am right now, so if you have your elbows down, you're holding onto your feet, and your upper body is on your legs, at that point you can relax your neck and let your head come towards your knees, because if you're all the way into this, your lower back will stay long. If you're higher up and you're dropping the head, then your lower back is rounding. So we're trying to keep the length in the spine. We're trying to lift out of the hips and come forward with a nice straight spine. So if you're able to get all the way in, then you can bring the head to the knees. Otherwise, keep the length in your neck. And coming up, bend your knees, wrap around, hold on to a wrist, pull yourself through your legs, relax your back. Take the soles of your feet together. So now we'll come into bound angle, the yang version of this pose. So we did butterfly at the beginning with the heels a little further away. That was a passive rounded fold. So butterfly is a more active, or bound angle is a more active pose. Heels are closer now to the groin. Hold your feet, take an inhale. Exhale, come forward with a straight spine. So we'll do this with the breath for a moment. Inhale, come up a little bit, lengthen. Exhale, come in a little deeper. If you can get your hands down, you can take your hands to the mat. Inhale, lengthen, find more space. Exhale, deepen. So you're not bouncing. This is a really controlled movement. Inhale, just creating a little more length, a little more space. Exhale, settling into that space. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. 1 more time, and then we'll hold the position. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward and hold. If you can have your elbows down but keep length in your back, that's fine. Otherwise, you can stay up here and just reach your chest forward. Walk your hands back, bring your knees up. Hug your knees for a moment. And you can make your way onto your back. So we'll come into a series of twists. I'll just turn sideways here. So for the first twist, knees are bent, knees are together, feet are on the mat, arms open. Take an inhale. Exhale, knees to the left. So keep your knees low here for this one. We're targeting more into the lower back. Knees up on an inhale. Exhale to the right. Knees up. So you can do that same thing, or this time cross the knees. The right knee is over. Inhale. Exhale, knees left. Knees up. Uncross. Left knee over if you're crossing them. Inhale. To the right. Exhale. Bring your legs up, uncross your knees. So get a little bit higher up into the back. Now lift your feet, keep your knees over your hips, your calves are parallel to the floor. Take an inhale, exhale, knees to the left. So now your knees are about mid-level, getting a little bit higher into the back. Knees up, inhale. Exhale, knees to the right. biceps abs. You can do that same thing one more time. Or if you'd like a little more here, cross your right leg over and wrap into eagle legs if you're able to. Take an inhale, exhale, knees to the left. So we're still at that mid-level twist, option for eagle legs. Bring your legs up. So you can stay there with the knees over the hips, or left leg wraps around into eagle legs if you like. Inhale, exhale to the right. And coming up, take your knees close to your chest now, so we'll get a little higher up. Take an inhale, exhale, knees to the left. Try to bring them close to the left arm now. Center, inhale, exhale to the right. Coming to center. So we'll do that one more time. Option to extend the top leg once you're into your twist. Take an inhale, exhale, knees to the left. Try to bring them close to the left arm. Option to extend the right leg. You might be able to take your peace fingers and your thumb and hold on to the right big toe. If you want to, the head can turn the opposite direction. If your right leg is straight, bend it. And then come back to center. Take an inhale. Exhale, knees go to the right. Option to extend the left leg here if you like. Bend the left knee if it's straight, coming back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Just stay for a moment there. Make your feet nice and active. Bring the knees in close. Breathe deeply. So try to breathe into your legs if you're able to. Expand the belly into the legs. Good for your digestion. Take your hands onto your knees. Keep your knees together. Circle them a few times clockwise and counterclockwise. Hug your knees. Inhale. Exhale. Curl up. Back down to your mat. Find your comfortable position for Shavasana. So legs can be straight. Knees can be bent. If you have back issues, you can take your feet out wide, drop the knees in. So just like the position, the alternate position I gave you during our yin practice, you can come back into this one if that feels best for you, or extend your legs into corpse pose. So finding your position where you're able to relax. Notice how your back feels. If your lower back isn't comfortable, bend the knees. You can also try just pressing your lower back into the floor for a moment and then finding a neutral spine from there. That can help you to settle a little bit more. Relax. Notice your breath for a moment. As you breathe in, think breathing in. As you breathe out, think breathing out. Do that for a few rounds. Inhale, breathing in, exhale, breathing out. And then when you feel settled, you can just let that go and relax. to bring your attention to your body, your breath. Take a nice deep breath in. Bring it all the way down deep into the lungs. Hold for a moment. Exhale out the nose, all the way out slowly. Again, deep inhale through the nose. Bring the breath all the way down. Pause and hold for a moment. Long, slow exhale all the way out. Bring some movement into your body, your fingers, your toes. If it feels good to stretch, you can stretch. Roll to your right side whenever you feel ready and stay for a moment. Help yourself to seat it. Once you're back to seated, sit tall. Stack your hands on your chest. Breathe into your hands. Be thankful for what your body did for you today without judgment or criticism. Remember that yoga is a practice, a health and wellness practice. Your practice is unique to you. Hands together at your heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.